Morning Facebook, we are live. We're also going to be on, where are we going to be on YouTube? We are going to be on the Lemur app, and we're going to be on our own podcast. So if you're interested in catching up on any of the previous shows or any of the podcasts that we've done over the last number of years, you can check them out at our podcast app. If you've got one on your phone, just search for Help Me to Parent and you should find us there. It's a beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful day here in Drogheda. I have my I hate mornings grumpy mug this morning, but it's not really a true reflection on how I'm feeling. So yeah, it's a good day. I'm looking forward to this one. So what we'll do is we'll crack straight in. Okay, my kids are about to finish school for the summer. We are all really looking forward to the break from the routine, but I'm a bit worried that they'll get bored after the first couple of weeks. Any suggestions? Oh, thousands and thousands of parents across the world are tuning in, hopefully, and they're all coming up with the same worries, or not worries, but concerns. Because summer is one of those times where, I suppose when I think back to summer as a kid, it was great. We just chilled out. We were out playing all day. There was nothing really, to keep us indoors. So it was really important that we were able to just go out and just have fun. And I think it's really important for parents to be able to allow their children to do that, because sometimes we can feel a pressure to make sure that every minute of their day is filled up with activities or, something memorable that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. And sometimes that's just not practical. That's not really necessarily positive for them either. We all want our kids to have good experiences, but we also have to remember that they need to switch off. Their brains have been working, their bodies have been going all year in school, and it's important that they get the opportunity to just be able to take it easy and have some downtime in the summer. And plus, it's okay for them to be maybe a bit bored. It's really important for kids to learn to be bored, because they need to be able to learn to switch their minds off, that they don't have to be going all the time or doing something all the time. I think that's part of the reason that so many people bring their children to me for me to work with them when they're dealing with anxiety. And a lot of it is because they just don't get that chance to switch their heads off, because things are going the whole time and we want them to have all these experiences. And, the amount of parents who will say we want our kids to, be able to try as many different things to see what they might like. And that's okay. But at some point we have to be able to say to our kids, it's okay for you to just lie on the sofa. It's okay for you to just chill out. I know for my own daughter, she was bored one day and I did that old thing that my parents did, where I said, you have a choice. You can go and find something to do, or I'll find you something to do, but probably what I'm going to find you to do is going to be a lot less fun and interesting than you're going to do. And she was gone for an hour or so and I didn't know where she was. And I kind of said to my wife, I wonder where she is. Is she okay? So I toddled up to her bedroom and there she was, and she'd done this fantastic drawing that she'd gone on YouTube, got a tutorial and drawn. And ever since then she loves drawing, having it never really being a huge part of her thought process or ways of keeping herself and her her mental health kind of in a good space. Now she's drawing all the time, and she knows that it's one of those tools that she can use to kind of keep herself calm. Plus, she's getting better and doing something positive. So I think it's important that they have that opportunity to do something boring, where they just come up with something. I'm sure some of you are sitting there going, yeah, my child might not go drawing. They might go and find a tree to chop down or jump out of or something. But, also the other thing is, let them have time with their friends. Let them have fun to just go and run around and do silly things. It's really important. You can also look at structured programs, because it is a good opportunity to introduce them to different ideas, to new activities that they maybe not have tried, or they may have an activity that they absolutely love. And it's okay for them to go and do one of those week-long courses, but just take the pressure off yourself so that everybody can have a lie-in, for a few mornings during the week, where it's not, right, we have to get up, get out, get everything organised. Take that pressure off yourself, but do have those 2 or 3 things dotted around the summer where they have that bit of structure, where they're going out. And the responsibility isn't just on you as the parent to keep them occupied the whole time. And for some parents it's going to be difficult because they're going to both be working, so you're going to be maybe relying on having those camps available to you to put your kids into. But maybe you can look at, can a friend's parent look after them for a few hours, a few days? Can a grandparent look after them a few hours for a few days, just so they get that opportunity where it's not just all structure. But do have a look. I'm sure, I know certainly here there are tons and tons of different activities that take place. So have a look around and see what you can find. Hi, Annie. So last year, your children's school principal reminded me that kids are off for the summer to rest, not to have their days packed with activities. That's a really, really good point. And it's good to see a principal of a school actually letting people know that, because sometimes as a parent we overthink things, and we're constantly trying to come up with new ideas and new things for our kids to do, to make them, or to give them opportunities, and we forget that we can take that time off to switch off. And that's really, really good to see a principal of a school actually doing that. Okay, next one. I'm recently separated from my husband. Our children live with me and see their dad at the weekends. Things haven't been great between us. I'm going on holidays with my sister in the summer as I need a break, and my ex has taken the kids for a week. I don't want there to be too much upheaval for them, but how do I get my ex to keep the normal routine going for the kids for the week? So I suppose we do discuss what it's like being a separated parent, a bit on here, because it's becoming more and more of a normal thing for people to get separated if they're not in a positive relationship, or if they're not in a happy relationship. So a lot more children are actually having to live in split houses and stuff like that. So it's a normal part of everyday life. And it can be very difficult when the parents are having a difficult relationship, like you say here, with your ex-partner. The big thing is we cannot control what the other parent does. So if you have a difficult relationship, what you may find is that, okay, you want your children to have the normal routine, and if you say it to your ex, this is the routine, can you stick to it, because it's good for them to have that structure. If things are not going really well, your ex may turn around and just roll up in a ball and chuck it into the bin and go, because you've asked me, I'm not going to do it. Or you can't tell me what to do with my kids on my time. And these are real things that people hear. It's real things that I experience in the work that I do with separated parents. And sometimes what happens is, when there's been a separation, the hurt that we feel, the sadness that we feel, overrides not our love for the children, but the taking things from the children's perspective, so that we want to get back at the person who's hurt us. And by doing that, the easiest way to do that is through the children. But we have to remember that's not fair on the kids. They are not the ones who've done anything to cause this breakup. There may have been nobody done anything to cause the breakup. It's just you moved apart. There may have been an affair. Who knows what's gone on? But it's not your children's fault. So we have to learn to not use our children as pawns in ways to get back at our ex-partner who has hurt us. Okay. The other side of this, though, is that it is good for your kids to have the same routine in mum's house as they have in dad's house. So it makes sense for you to say to your ex-partner, this is the routine that we have. But you can also say it from the perspective of, it would be great for the kids if you could keep this structure as much as possible. I'm sure you've got things planned anyway that you're going to do, and that's fine. I don't mind that. But please, as much as possible, try and keep the bedtimes normal. Try and keep the meal times normal. If there's medication needs to be had, pass that information on. It's really important. And those are the type of things that you can do, and trust that hopefully they will be done. But if not, don't use it as a stick to beat your ex with, because the hurt is there. and sometimes we'll use it to get back at the other parent. So suggest it, but do recognise that they are the other parent. They may have things planned, and that's okay too. And then just see how it goes. And I suppose with separated things as well, what can happen is the resident parent that the children live with most of the time may be the one who has to deal with the discipline, and the other parent is the fun parent who takes them out, who does the fun things, and that can be quite an imbalance. And there needs to be a recognition that it's absolutely okay for one parent to do more of the discipline because the child is spending more time with you, but at the same time the other parent needs to take on board that they are a parent, they're not just the child's friend. You can be friends with your kids when they're 18 or older. What's important is that you take on that discipline. So it's probably going to be good for your ex to have that role of being a disciplinarian and letting him know that these are the things, these are the boundaries that I have for the kids. And they work for the kids. Maybe you could give them a go when they're with you as well. He may not take it on board, but at least you're doing it. And then you have to just trust that he's able to bring the kids up for the week on his own. It's going to be okay. The chances are they're going to have a really good time. They're going to be happy. You can go, you can switch off, you can have your break, which you obviously need, and just enjoy it as much as you can. Hope that's of some use. Okay, Grumpy, I need a little sip. Hope everybody tuning in is having a good morning so far. Okay, next one. I have 3 sons, and as they're getting older, I'm noticing that my mother is being really negative towards the boys. When we are in her house, she's constantly on at them for nothing in particular. It's now getting to a stage where they don't want to go visit her. I need her to look after them every so often as I work part-time, but it's stressing me so much that I'm even considering quitting work. How do I get her to ease up on them? So every few weeks we do get in questions about how to handle grandparents from different perspectives, or sometimes we get questions from the grandparents wondering how they handle their grandchildren or their children. And excuse me, this is one of those ones that can be hard because your mother has brought up you, if you have any siblings, so she's brought them up, but it's been a different time, and your children are not her children. So I think it's about trying to get a balance where there's respect. So look, 3 boys, we know how boisterous they can be and just have some fun and, come in like a ton of bricks and run through the house and turn everything upside down the exact same way girls can do it too. But I do think you need to have a conversation with your mum, and it can be a very difficult conversation around the boundaries you have for the kids. And then talk to her about what boundaries she wants to have in her house for your kids. So there could be a difference, and it's no different to what we were just talking about with the separated parents, where you have one set of boundaries, but the other parent might have a different set of boundaries, and you need to try and find a way to marry that up. It's no different with the grandparents. So if you are relying on your mother or any parent to look after your kids, there has to be that balance between what it is that they actually want for the boundaries in their house, which is absolutely fine, and then you talking about what the boundaries are in your house, which is absolutely fine. And then make an agreement around, okay, well, this is what we would hope and expect by bringing both of the sets of boundaries together that we will have. And you can name it with them, with your mum. It's okay that she finds it frustrating sometimes. It's okay if she's tired because she has raised her kids, or she's not necessarily in the headspace where she wants to deal with 3 boys running around the place. But if she's feeling that way, get her to tell you beforehand, and say to her, I don't want it to get to a stage where our boys are saying that they don't want to come visit you, because that's not good either. It's not good for them. Sometimes, we need to do a bit of work to try and get that balance for everybody. So sit down with her, have a frank and open conversation without putting too much pressure. on either of you. But try and get that balance right, because this is something that's real, and it's not something that can go away. And she may not go through with it. She may not follow up with it. She may turn around and say, "Your boys are just a disgrace." And then that's a different conversation you're having. Then maybe you do need to take a step back and look at how often the boys are going to see, or where they're going to meet up with their grandmother, where you're going to have to say to her that they are my kids, my responsibility. I'll take care of it. And if they're disrespecting her, you deal with it and don't let them away with it. If she's disrespecting them, maybe have a conversation away from the boys and let her know, look, that was a bit heavy-handed. If you need to step away, take some time away, go ahead and do it. Okay. Hi Ruth, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Annie, so don't forget that as your children get older, so do your parents. Their patience may be wearing thin because their body is growing tired from old age. Absolutely, Annie. It's something that we need to be mindful of as adults, because they have done their raising. We do, and more we do rely on grandparents to help raise the children, because both parents are working, or maybe there's a lot more separation, so we do rely on them. So it's okay for them to be tired and not to rely on them too much, but we don't want to get into a point where our boys or our kids are questioning themselves because, oh well, Granny says I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing that wrong, I'm doing the other wrong. If it's a constant wheel, you need to nip it in the bud. Sometimes we have to manage our parents as well as manage our kids. So do that if the need is there. Do take care of it and do nip it in the bud, so that she's not constantly nitpicking at them over nothing. And you take control of the situation. Maybe take the lads aside, say, look lads, Granny's having a tough day, let's just ease off and take it easy with her. But it's okay to say, look, maybe Granny was over the top there because she is tired, because she is, whatever. And maybe she didn't mean what she said, without getting into trying to cover up for her. So many dynamics in this, it's very, very difficult at times for people. Okay, last one for the day. My brother recently gave me a funny birthday card, and I didn't take any real notice of it. My 5-year-old just asked me what a tit is, and I was completely stuck for an answer. Please tell me I'll be able to deal with this stuff better as he gets older and asks the harder ones. Okay, funnily enough, I had something similar recently enough. Birthday cards, we get them, we laugh at them, we put them up, and other people laugh at them, and then we realise that at some point our kids start to look at them too and ask the question about what they mean. So the obvious answer is you can just say to your child that a tit is a bird, and that there's lots of different types of tits, different coloured ones, and they fly around all day, every day. The other side is, usually it's when this happens for the first time that it catches you off guard. The chances are the next time you're not going to be as, I suppose, well, caught off guard really when it comes to answering the questions. So every parent has to deal with it. Every parent has to talk about it. There will be innuendo left, right and centre, and they'll pick up on it and they'll ask you the question. So always remember, it's a need to know basis. Sometimes kids need to know the truth about it. Sometimes it might not be appropriate at the age that they're at. So just be mindful of it, but the chances are you're probably going to be okay going forward, because this is the one that catches you off guard most. Until the next one. Okay guys, that's us for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic Wednesday, and I will see you next week. Take care guys.